Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro. It's time for a review of And Then We Danced. It's one of the only films I saw at Sundance that I didn't review because I knew it was coming out soon. I thought, well, Brother Bro should see this movie. It's a great movie. We'll review it. Little Oscar trivia. This film was submitted by Sweden at last year's Academy Awards. Didn't even make the shortlist. How sad.
But it takes place in Georgia and explores that society.
This film is about a dancer who is dancing in this traditional style of like Georgian dance, Georgican dance.
Georginian. It's definitely not Georgican. Nothing's akin.
The director's name is Levin Akin, so there's Akin right there.
You're my kin.
Okay.
It's a coming of age movie that's about like heartbreak and all the feelings that you get like on first love, and it's about, awakening to that. Like that's what the movie's really about. He's also gay in a society that doesn't like gay people.
We had slightly different experiences in this movie. Like the way I would describe it is a little different because I would emphasize that the movie is this sort of roller coaster. You're this teen, you're gay, you can't let out the energy that you have in you. You're a dancer, you like to express yourself physically. I thought this movie was just all about the energy of experiencing this character who has a lot bubbling up inside, and it's difficult for them to express it and let it out, whether that's because it's difficult to be gay.
I mean, that's why. That's the reason.
Well, it's also the tension of just generally like being attracted to somebody and not quite getting them. It's not always because of society.
Yeah, that's true.
There's the general anticipation of a romance.
Yeah.
There's also like the dancing is very intense.
The anxiety, like when he's in love, when he's not receiving that, when he's not like in their presence. Yeah,
but it's also like the fact that there's an audition coming up and he really wants to get it. There's a lot going on in this kid's life. I also must emphasize that while this movie is about a gay person who's not able to be gay to the world, this is not one of those like sad, quiet protagonists. This is like a joyful movie. It's a celebratory movie about identity and like flourishing. It's not like, he's wallowing in like being oppressed or whatever. It's energetic. At the beginning of the movie, we say how motivated he is by like just dance. Like dance is like his thing. But then when he has this romantic interest, that becomes a whole other fire in his life. Juggling these two, like this is just, it's a burning hot movie.
I don't like how you're describing it in terms of fire because I need that to be just Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
It doesn't it's not the same fire. How is it
that
not?
To me is a different...
Okay, but how is it not the fire from Portrait of a Lady on Fire? He's being united, he's discovering himself.
I fucking don't want anything else to be fire. I'm not gonna say...
Fire has been a
whenever
symbol
I see
in film
a movie
for decades.
Where
centuries.
someone is in love, I don't want it to be fire anymore.
All
like
right.
It can't be fire every time.
Look,
it's not allowed to be fire every
I'm
time.
trying to describe the movie using lots of adjectives because my experience
I'm
of this...
saying it's personally offensive to me. I don't want to use fire for every movie where someone's like in love. Like
it's a descriptor. It's hot.
You can say like maybe some burning coals.
Look,
maybe
I'm trying to describe the movie
coal
through the
burning
senses.
in his chest.
I thought that this whole movie was like really good at making you feel like the senses of this kid. It pays a lot of attention to like him fidgeting or like biting his necklace or like rubbing his hands together or like squeezing his bed or what.
Which is like also where I think there's a really great performance at the center of this film.
Absolutely.
Some movies, like we just saw Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, where they have a like non-actor in the lead role. And sometimes when you get that, you get a really good, like interesting performance because the casting's always like interesting. But sometimes the actors are not as expressive as they could be. But this movie, I felt like, I actually don't know if this is true, that he was a dancer before he was an actor.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, he was really expressive. He was like a really good actor.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't CGI, he's actually dancing. The dancing itself, like, you have to get a dancer for this because the dancing looks like super difficult and strenuous. Just in general, it's a very physical performance. I thought the lead actor, like, the second time watching, I just heightened my appreciation for his performance.
And I thought he had really good chemistry with his love interest as well. Both performances were great. The way that they like touch each other and everything was great.
The movie's very physical.
Yeah,
Has
it's
a lot
very
of energy.
Physical, very kinetic.
It's angsty.
Yeah,
it
is definitely an angsty
anticipation.
movie.
Like you were telling me after the movie that you thought, the story itself is sort of simple.
Keep those over there.
But for me, like it wasn't about the story. I thought this movie did an excellent job of capturing the whirlwind of being young, gay, what have you, or just like a human being that has something to express and living in a situation that it is difficult to express that.
But that's such a cliche at this point. Like, how many times have we said that in just like the year and a half that we've been reviewing shit? Like,
have we?
It's about a character who's gay, who can't express it, but like needs to. It needs to.
But
it happens a lot.
But my thing is that there were plenty of ways that you could relate to this movie just being about like tension and energy in general. I wouldn't confine it to that. I wouldn't say that was like the only thing that the movie was trying to express.
Yeah, I mean, I should probably just say my feelings, my bias about the movie so that I'm not just like seeming like I'm just poking holes for no reason. I thought it was very good. And the ending surprised me, and I think it ended in like the perfect way for what it set up to do. Whereas it could have twisted the story to like make it fit. But it didn't have a tidy ending, and I really like that. That was great. You said it was like Whiplash level engagement
to me
of how you felt during the movie. So
it was...
like my feelings during the movie, I was kind of half in it and half like, I understand where this movie's going. I've sort of seen it before, wishing that it was like a little bit more in some way. You know, you might not feel that way watching the movie. You might feel that way. I don't know how you're gonna feel, but that was my experience. I was saying that I felt like the camera work was really good in some scenes, but in other ones it felt sort of like plain or lacking in a style. You disagreed with that. You know, the way that I would describe the camera work was sometimes it was like when you watch a short film and it's just sort of done in like that way. It's good, it's nice looking, but I almost wish it like committed more to one style or another. Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always was not a showy film, but it definitely like went for a certain mood and like look and everything. I felt like that kept me more engaged because I was like, yes, this is like this movie. For me, it could have worked better if it leaned in one way or another. I wasn't sure if it was going for like the totally crowd-pleasing Sing Street like feel-good thing versus like if it leaned into being like a very realistic, gritty movie, then I would have understood it like that way. So it didn't feel like it has much of a style to me.
I can't like debate my way into proving that it's good. It operates through the senses, and my senses were like flaring the whole movie. Like my heart rate was up. I just found it to be very intense. Whiplash or something to me. To you, it was just not that. And so like the cinematography to me was like hyper expressive, and it was always working to create that effect on me. I loved the editing.
Just, like, really empathize with the whole movie.
Yeah, so I like really cared about the character, and I really felt like I was just like in his emotional state. And when you say that it's like this, and we've seen it before, I can't think of other movies that capture this specific thing, like this tension, this energy bottled up. That was my experience in the movie. I thought it was like very unique of an experience for me personally.
You watch out there a little bit. Karate chop your hand. I felt like I knew where it was going. Even when I didn't, I still felt like I know this movie. Is he gonna like him, and are they gonna have a thing, and is his girlfriend gonna be upset about, like, you know what I mean?
I'm not gonna argue that this movie necessarily has
it felt paint by the numbers, but if it was totally paint by the numbers, I wouldn't recommend the movie at all. And so it wasn't that. One thing a movie did that I thought was unique was it touched on the society they were living in a lot. There were a lot of other nuances that it captured. It kind of taught you something about how the culture works without putting it in your face. And I think that was like a big goal of the movie, was to show, you know, how the society operates and like where, you know, this character can like navigate around that versus where they have to like submit. And in the end, they kind of leave you with this note of like, what do you do in this situation if you are this way and you're not allowed to be that way? Like, what do you do? It was great that it didn't answer that question. And like in America, like being yourself can get you like everywhere. It's all of our movies. Every Pixar movie is like, the more you embrace like who you are and like follow your dreams and your talents, the more successful you'll be. Like not only will you be like successful for you, like you'll get money too. You'll become rich and stuff. You know, that's why it's nice to watch other films from other countries, because that is not what happens in every single case. And obviously in America, those things happen too. We just don't see the stories about that. It's not part of our culture.
This movie's been getting high ratings on Letterboxd specifically. I can see why. Like, I think that this is a movie that if you like the intensity of movies like Whiplash or Black Swan, you like movies like Call Me By Your Name. Even I got climax vibes when the bodies contort in that movie. You like kind of feel it like a little bit inside. I feel like this movie had that to it, you know, because it's also about dancing. It's also a very physical movie. I want people to know about this movie. I think that a lot of people could be impacted by it. I wish you were a little more impacted by it. That's fine. I would definitely give this movie a go. How did we see it? It was on Vimeo. You could rent it for $12.
Who asked that? Who just asked that question? I heard a different voice. It wasn't quite your voice.
I wanted to bring awareness to this movie, basically.
You really?
It has a lot of... And the ending.
Doing the Lord's
What an
work.
ending. What an ending. The cut to black was just amazing. It lingered after the ending.
Yeah, that's what brought this movie up a little bit for me.
It's honestly a movie that I could see being my top 10 of this year.
Wow.
I really liked it. And on the second viewing, I kind of like it even more.
Good for you, man. That's great. That's great. You found a movie that you really enjoyed, and I'm happy you had that great experience.
10 out of 10.
Wow. Ooh. Do I disappoint you, or do I, like, give you what you think I'm going to give it?
You're going to give it a 7?
So I'm just going to say 7 and an 8. I'm going to go with a 7 on this one, because it's just, like, the ending almost boosted it up to an 8 for me. But overall, how I feel about the movie, I'm, like, a little lukewarm about it, so I'm going to go with a 7.
Can all appreciate, you know, art the way that it's intended to be.
Only some people are able to, and it's just not me all the
I
time.
appreciate great works of art. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Show off your goofiest dance in the comments below.